So I get asked frequently about the old house, whether I've been by the old house and seen how the property looks, but it was a younger couple with a young child or children moving into that house. And I don't expect anybody to take on the challenge of something that that I will leave behind anywhere that I go and garden, for sure. And Charlie, my son, who you guys have seen on the channel before, he rode by. He said, he sent me a text one day. It said, I rode by the old house the other day. The plants are winning. And I thought that was really kind of funny, because actually I'm looking around this garden right now and going, in some cases, the plants are winning. We've had the place really looking great for the open garden, and we'd not had a lot of natural rain, as you all know. I've talked about how dry it is here, and it still is. We're still in extreme drought, all those kinds of things. But we have had a few actual rains, a little bit of thunder, a little bit of lightning. That natural rain hits the garden, and I've talked about this virtually every summer. When that happens during the summertime, whether you own a nursery, you'll notice this with your plants in the fields, or you have a garden at home, you'll notice that everything all of a sudden just goes, whew, all the summer things that can grow during the summer. So that could be your vegetable garden, which I got in here this morning, and the tomatoes were eating the eggplants, and the eggplants were eating the peppers, and the peppers were, the cucumbers were eating everything. And it was quite the mesh up in there. So I went through and tried my best to get that cleaned. We just haven't spent any time in there this year. We haven't used the cattle panels properly. I think I got in there one day when they were about 1.5 feet tall, and I was so proud of myself that they were all neat and orderly, and then didn't look for a month, and they were falling on the dahlias, falling on everything else. That's the way that goes sometimes. We just weren't thinking about that part. It is loaded with tomatoes. I don't know how many eggplant stuff's already pulled out of there. We've given eggplant to my morning coffee group, neighbors. Steph has made ratatouille. I mean, we got eggplant coming out of our ears. It's in the annual border in the front garden. There's a really cool one in a container somewhere they're like this, the little globe-shaped ones. A lot of eggplant right now. Peppers are almost ready, and more cucumbers than we can possibly more than we can eat. That's what happens. You hit that 1-2 real rains and the thing just goes wild. This is when you can lose control of some weeds. You can lose control of a lot of things. We would always have this moment in the nursery where we needed to get everything weeded, get pre-emergent herbicide put down. Not that I'm doing that in my home garden, but we did at the nursery. We'd have to prune some things. We'd have to really get the things under control. So that's what I would say now in your own garden. If you've had some of these rains and it's like exploding, and all of a sudden there's kind of a blur between, individual plants have gone away and now it's just kind of a blur. You do need to go through and probably cut a limb here or there. The pomegranate is really loving this. This is the dwarf pomegranate. It's a year and a half, 2 years old maybe in the spot. 2 years, it's 5.5 feet tall. Blooms like crazy. We won't get finished pomegranates. It's not to say here in Raleigh you can't get finished pomegranates. Neomond, the restaurant near us, has finished pomegranates. We do have a Russian variety. What is it? I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember right now this minute what that one is called, but it looks like it's going to finish 1 or 2. This one, the blooms are too late regardless. If you needed to bloom much earlier than this, it only had a few blooms on it, and that's where they did get pollinated. The fruit is forming there, but that's not going to that's not ever going to have time to completely finish. But those orange flowers are just amazing. They're just like nothing like that color that you can get in anything else. There's probably a few annuals that are that bright, but not many things are going to be that showy. We're about at this point. We watered the garden more than I would have wanted to water the garden leading up to the open garden event, just because it needed to be in reasonably good shape. Since then, we have really just gone, hey, you're going to have to suffer a little bit. We're going to wait for that 50% chance of storms 3 days from now, and we're not going to water as much. But we still had to water the occasional thing here or there, thinking about taking a couple of our more difficult containers and going ahead and splashing those things back in, getting them in the ground if they're overcrowded or whatever. You may sometimes just taking one thing out of a container that you put 5 things in, and then putting a little bit of soil back in that little void will work. I also dug up some potatoes. So we have 2 different potato patches, one from this year, and those plants, we can actually come around here. Those plants are still up. I can't believe it. We flipped the calendar over to July. This is all my tomato parts and pieces. It's the middle of July, or not the middle of July, but we flipped the calendar over to July, and these plants are still up and still growing a little bit. There's still growth on these. Normally in our area, they would be died back to the ground at this point. So I don't know why they've continued to grow. I'm glad they have, because there's definitely going to be a good amount of potatoes through this section through here. But we have an old section behind the fence back here. And what I do with that section is any of the potatoes that are kind of sitting up above the soil grade a little bit, they're just not good for eating. And so I leave those in place and I flip the whole thing over, get the ones that are underneath, and then leave those in place. And I just continually get, a couple times a year, I can get, 20 good, decent sized potatoes out of that spot. Did that this morning. This is going to be a good yield though, but I am super surprised. I think it's most of the time by June 15th or something, June 20th for sure, these would have been died completely back, and we've had 100-degree days. So interesting. I'm hoping they're still continuing to make bigger and better potatoes as we go. I think you've been watching the videos. You know that the container over there with the Black Ripple Colocasia is my favorite container. Steph's favorite container is the one I'm showing you now, and it's right there for me as well. It's just a perfect color combination of silvers and blues and pinks and yellows. It's really a very, very striking container over there. The list of what's in it is on the screen right now. Another thing about the heat this season is a couple of other things. Normally, the red vein sorrel would have already died back to the ground too, and it's suffering, but it's not suffering as bad as I would have thought, especially combined with the fact that it's dry. Normally it looks okay, and it gets a lot of questions during the open garden, and then shortly thereafter, it goes to ground for the summer. It's a summer. Takes a summer nap and then comes back up in the fall and looks great all winter and all spring. The same thing over here with the peonies is normally they're knocked back quite a bit more than this. So it's kind of an interesting season here going on for us, where usually by midsummer, the things that kind of don't want to be here, or they take a summer dormancy or whatever, are not looking great. I need to be charging the bees rent out here during the night. I've got a bunch of bees that they spend the night on various flowers throughout the garden. They love resting on dahlias, especially. This is a Tacoma here. That bee is literally just waking up. He was under that flower for a minute and get himself dried off, and then trying to go in that flower now. But a lot of them are, again, I need to be charging rent. This is Alabama Sunset. Yeah, this is that.
Sunrise.
Oh yeah, Alabama Sunrise Coleus. That man, that thing is always good. Did we put any in the ground? We put several other Coleus in the ground. Okay, there's some on the back line back there. And we were at as you're watching this, the video you'll see tomorrow. This one is in that video as well. It's just a lot of bang for your buck here. If you can find one of these, and you can root these and keep them through the winter if you want to. We try a lot of the Coleus from seed, and as successful as we are with lots of seed in this garden, not so much with this. So this is one of those I'd recommend you buy, and then try to, if you want to try to keep it without letting it go. We've got an African basil back there. It's the same kind of thing. It's like you have to rebuy it every season. Luckily for us, we have big bloomers, and you can go to big bloomers and get it reasonably, and then it does, in a season, does that. And again, we could root one, keep it in the house through the winter if we wanted to. The other thing to do out here would be any pruning. We try not to erase too many flowers at once, but certainly on these, something like this salvia right here, where it gets these side branches. If we come in here, you can see where Steph cut this one not that long ago, and it has three new branches coming on it. There's another one right there, 3 new branches coming on it. I can go down on any of these that have, all the flowers are gone at this point, cut them down to a leaf node where I can see the leaves are coming. or the next branches would come from, where where those buds are, and it'll very, very quickly pop right back up and have new flowers on it. But again, we try not to take too many things at once from them, because you see, here's a honeybee working this one right here. What else, Steph? Did cut a couple things back in containers where the containers are drying out a little bit too much. That's, you know, something you're gonna do. Again, that container, I think I've shown it off. We did a colocation video. I did what the plants that were asked about the most at the open garden, and certainly that black ripple colocasia was right at the top of the list. What is this one? King something?
Kong Rose?
Kong Rose. That's what it is. This is, see this coleus here? There's a lot of bang for the buck right there, right? I mean, it's just incredibly showy. And all the other textures in here, we got a little collection of tiny leafed hosta on the corner. This ajuga is looking pretty sharp, and the other combination with the coleus and the caladium and so on and so forth. This bed has a lot, you know, going on in it. The patio area probably looks the best overall I think it's ever looked. What do you think? I mean, I think it just turned out so, you know, really well, you know, really good this year. We do
flowers off of the coleus.
Oh yeah, and that's another, yeah, Steph just pointed out, these will try to flower, and you know, they're good pollinator plants, but we don't let them flower until later in the season, because sometimes when they flower, they just kind of, they don't do a whole lot of growing after that. So when it tries to get a flower spike on them, just take them off, and then sometime late August or something, just let them go, and then they'll flower, and the pollinators will come to them. We put up this scarlet bee balm this video this week, and this is another one we showed in that video, that you can cut these back a little bit and force some additional branching on them and get some additional flowers. Again, there's nothing in this garden that the bees aren't, I mean, you can just count, you know, if we did a head count over here, and again started charging a little bit of rent, there's a lot of bees on there at any given time. And the plant, it looks like it's done flowering. That's the wildest thing about this plant to me, is it always looks like it's done or almost declining, and it still has the most bees on it in the garden, even in its decline. The entryway looks good this year as well. I think, you know, sometimes you know, there's a lot going on out here. If we counted within, you know, a 20 square foot space here, you know, how many things are at this entryway from the street, it's a lot. And sometimes that can come together and look just, wow, how did we even, you know, how do you pull that off? And then sometimes it can look, you know, all over the place, because you have that many things together. We did a single plant video, or a garden plants video, on this sparkling burgundy eucomis that will be coming soon. I will say one mistake from this season is I cut the moon dance hydrangea too much. And so this is one of those lessons learned. I felt like 2 years ago, I didn't cut it. I cut it right to the top of the fence, and then it was way up here flowering. And I was like, well, that's too much. And then this year I went for it and cut it way down, and it grows. This one is just so reliable. It grows 3 feet in flowers. So knowing that, I need to make sure that I only cut maybe 2 feet off next year, and then I'll have it a foot above the fence. But that is a super reliable plant. You can see it's finally getting its color there. And again, you see how that plant is just in really, everything's in pretty reasonably good shape, considering we've really backed off the watering. So I'm happy with the garden is responding to, you know, it has to hold up on its own, because we're not going to baby it any further the rest of the season. You can see, again, the plants are winning. And so this needs a little bit of work. So we're going to come in here and sculpt around a few of the plants and cut some of this back. I've said many times we don't cut it all back at one time, so we won't do that, because there are a ton of things happening out here. Not just bees. There's all kinds of little wasps and moths and all kinds of other things visiting all of this, you know, this crazy color combination that's out front. But it will need a bit of control, because again, as soon as you get actual rainfall, things go, woo, this is, you know, this is fun. But I think that it's held up well for the last, I mean, we've gone, what, 2 weeks since then, Steph, and we really haven't had, we've really just said, that's it. You gotta be on your own. And we did get lucky and get like one day where it rained like 3 times in the same day, so about 2 hours apart. Those are the ideal rains where it absorbs that water, then you get another round, but that's it. Other than that, it's been, this past weekend, it was supposed to rain on and off. All this, I think the entire state of North Carolina got rain except for Raleigh here.
That's happened more than once.
And that's happened more than once. The city seems to have some sort of impact on storms will start or coming from the west, and then you'll see them all of a sudden start to develop east of us, and the one that's coming toward us dies out, and then the one east of us blows up and goes to the coast. It's really some dynamic maybe with the heat island of the city or something like that. Don't really understand that, but there you go. That's kind of the things we have going on in the garden, is making sure it's not eating the house over the next few months, but also enjoying it, because the bees have really shown up. I don't even think we didn't have peak bee when people were here this year. Or even peak flower, because everything had been a little bit slower because of our up and down spring temperatures. Now it's peak flower, and the bees are just, man, there's so many bees. And the other pollinators as well, lots of other things. Butterflies haven't really shown up yet. We have a few, but not as many as we typically get more toward August and September. Yeah, and the time of day, early in the morning here, the bees are, the various bumblebees that we have wake up first and get going first. The honeybees are just starting to show up from wherever they're coming from. I don't know where the honeybees are coming from, but they do take advantage of this garden as well. I'm sure they put out the bat signal every morning to the other group. Oh, buffet, big time buffet, because that's what it is. If you walk across this entire space right now, the native garden over there has lots of flowers as well. Not as full and lush as this yet, but it will be one day. And we'll do more walkthroughs of it at that time once those, everything fills in a bit more over there. So thank you guys so much. Is there anything in your garden that's out of control that you're trying to get control of? Let us know in the comments below the video. Thanks for watching.